Tonight on the Sideline, it is March Madness here on the Pioneer Sideline. We look at the tournament, break down, tell you who's going to win. All our analysts are in this one, as this is the March Madness episode of the Pioneer Sideline. And you know what? Let's get this started. Let's step on the Pioneer Sideline. Welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman, and we're going to break it down here, the NCAA Tournament here. We're going to have analysts coming in by the dozens for this, but in the first block here, we have Kyle Anthony, Tim Hardy, and Brittany Loffer. And as we're going to look at here, now in our pre-meeting, we've already determined in the South here, it's going to be Kansas, Florida, Georgetown moving on. In the East, we're going to have Indiana, Marquette, and Miami already moving on. But let's start off here. You're in the South Division here, guys. North Carolina, Villanova. That's your 8-9 matchup. Who's moving on and why? Let's start off over there at the desk, guys.
Well, I have UNC moving on in this game because UNC runs a four-guard lineup, and they've really been a very consistent team since they moved to this four-guard lineup. So, I mean, that's given a lot of teams matchup problems, even Duke, who's a 2-seed in this tournament. So I got UNC moving on.
I got to go with Villanova, Kyle. You know, they've been looking very good, and best by the guard play they got going on so far, I can see them really going forward and being UNC.
I'm agreeing with Tim on this. Right now, North Carolina is the fourth-ranked team in the third-best conference. That's not really that great. So, and right now, Villanova is their fourth in rebounds. They're third overall in points per game right now. I have them beating them for sure.
Survey says it's going to be Nova. So we're going to go with there, Dawn. And now you go into your 5-12 matchup. VCU, everyone's favorite little upset team, going against Akron. I'm going to have to say VCU, guys, but let's see what you guys have to say.
I got VCU winning this one. I just think their tempo's too fast, their team's too good, and so I got to get VCU moving on.
Yeah, I'm right with you there, Kyle. You know, VCU, yeah, no doubt about it. They've been able to get into the Final Four last year, and I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it rolling this year too.
They've been too hot to stop right now. It has to be VCU all the way.
VCU, moving on. Now we go down to the Michigan, South Dakota State. It's going to be Michigan. We don't even have to look at that one. Michigan, moving on. Now UCLA and Minnesota. Now that one's going to be an interesting matchup there, guys. 6 versus 11. Minnesota, they're a team that can maybe possibly make a little run here in this tournament. Let's see what you guys have to say about this one.
I got Minnesota winning this game. I think they're too physical inside, and I think the loss of UCLA's point guard and the way that Minnesota's been playing, especially Trevor Mbakwe, their center, is going to make the difference, and I got Minnesota moving on. Yeah,
Minnesota's been a real creeper team going on to this tournament. You know, they got a lot of ego going into this tournament as well. You can see it coming very well, and you can see a lot of things going on with them. I got Minnesota too.
I have to say Minnesota as well. I have them, but then I have them getting beat by Florida, so we have to see. Now
unanimously there, we got Minnesota moving on there, Donna, so continue a little tally there. Now we move into our next matchup, and once again, we have them versing Florida with Minnesota. But our last one here in the first round, 7th seed San Diego State versing the 10th seed Oklahoma. Another big matchup there, guys. San Diego State on the West Coast, Oklahoma, Big 12 team. Who's moving on to that second round?
I got San Diego State winning this game. I think James Franklin's going to be different. He's been one of the most electric players in the country in offense and defense. He's going to give Oklahoma a lot of matchup problems because of his speed and his shooting ability. I got San Diego State.
Yeah, I got San Diego State as well. You know, they've been able to play very good, and they've been very creeping up the ladder so far these last couple of years. I'm pretty sure they're going to end up getting this win too.
I have San Diego State as well, honestly. They've been just very consistent lately, and I see them going pretty far.
San Diego State moving on there, Donna. I know you're glad to hear that being from the West Coast. San Diego State moving on. Now let's keep it here in the South region. Now we go into our second round matchups. Kansas, Villanova. I'm going to say Kansas there, Dawn. We're going to have Kansas move on there. Now, you look at VCU, Michigan. That's going to be a big matchup, guys. VCU, a nice team that could really pull off an upset here against what was supposed to be the Big Ten champion, Michigan, but they fell in that tournament. So what do you guys think? Who's going to win this matchup?
I got VCU, the 5 seed, pulling the upset. I think their tempo's too fast. Michigan only has 2 players in that can score, and that's Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. They haven't got any inside presence. Their bench depth isn't that well. So I got VCU winning because of the tempo and their defensive ability.
I don't know about that, Kyle. I'm going to go with Michigan here. You talked about Trey Burke. He's up there already in the College Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure Tim Hardaway Jr., one of the key aspects of the game, he's going to do pretty well. So I got Michigan going on that one.
I have Michigan as well. They might be two players, but they're two players who can really score and make a difference for the team.
Let's go blue is the call there, Donna. Michigan moving on to play Kansas. Now we're going to look at Minnesota and Florida. Florida, we're going to have them advance in that one there, Donna. Florida's been too strong of a team all year. Minnesota, they pull off the upset in the first round, but there's no way they're going to be able to beat Florida in that second matchup. Now you go into the bottom there. Georgetown and San Diego State. Really, that one's got to be Georgetown as well. San Diego State, it would be a good thing to see them pull off the upset. But realistically here, guys, come on now. Georgetown, they make it far in a tournament. Now we look at our regionals here a little bit further. Kansas, Michigan. That's your 1 seed versus your 4 seed. How's that one going to go here, guys? Can Michigan pull off the upset?
I don't think Michigan has the ability to pull off the upset again. They only have 2 players in this team really carry the team. Kansas is a full team. They've done this before. I mean, Jeff Withey is going to be able to take away anything inside at Michigan for the dribble drive. And Ben Lattimore, probably the freshman of the year. So I got Kansas moving on.
Yeah, I'm going with Kansas as well, Kyle. You know, they're a good team all around and going into this tournament, just been able to win the Big 12. And also, you just got to look into this Ben McLemore, and he's been installing for this team, be able to hold the leading scorer for the Kansas team. So I got to go with Kansas as well.
I have Kansas too. They've been so good offensively lately, as well as all around, and that's just too strong to pass up.
I mean, I really think Trey Burke can get done here for Michigan, guys, but Chop has spoken. Donna, Michigan goes down. Kansas moves on. Now let's look at Florida and Georgetown here. Florida, really the one big team we've seen out of the SEC this season, and Georgetown, always a perennial, guys. Who's going to be this year? The team that's hot or the perennial favorite?
I'm going down south for this game, and I'm taking the Florida Gators. I think their 3-guard lineup and the ability for their big man, Eric Murphy, to be a swing man and play on the outside and inside is going to give them difficulties. And Georgetown hasn't got a lot of consistency out of people other than Otto Porter. And the way they played in their last game, I'm feeling more confident with Florida, who's only lost 1 neutral site game all year.
Yeah, I'm going down to the swamp too. I got to pick Florida. They've been looking too good when it comes to the guard play here. And you just can't just go without this team going against Georgetown with their big lineup. I'm pretty sure the guards are going to be able to get a lot of 3-pointers out there. So I got Florida winning too.
I actually have Georgetown going to the Final Four, but Kansas has been very inconsistent. When they lose the ball and do turnovers, they just lose it. They can't get back into the game. So far, Georgetown has a good history in the tournament. They're good defensively, and they beat Florida. They can beat Florida because in the SEC, they were down this year. They weren't up to their usual game, and Florida struggled in the SEC tournament. So why won't they're going to struggle in this tournament too?
Brittany, looks like you're outnumbered there, so Florida moving on, but now in the regional final to get to the Final Four in the Elite Eight. Kansas, Florida, guys. I want to say Kansas, but what do you guys have to say?
You know what? I'm going to have to disagree with you, Chris. I got Florida winning this game. I think their defense is too good, so I think it should be able to take them out. And so I got Florida moving on and pulling an upset.
What? You got to be kidding me. I got to go with Kansas here. They got too big of a lineup for this Florida team. Like I just was talking about the guards. They got too big of a lineup. They'll rebound totally out the game. And that's all Kansas really needs to do. You got Jeff Whitney hitting the boards, at least getting 10 rebounds a game. He's going to do his thing during that game. I expect him to do a lot during that game as well.
Definitely have to say Kansas with this as well. Sorry. It's just when they're that strong right now, can't shut them down.
And that's right. Kansas moving on to the Final Four. Now we're going to go down to the East. We have Indiana already moving on. Marquette moving on. Miami moving on. Now, North Carolina State and Temple, guys. The 8-9 match, those are probably your most interesting ones in the first round. Who's winning it?
I got NC State because of the play they've got in athleticism. They have C.J. Leslie, Rodney Purvis. I mean, they have so much athleticism at team. It's given lots of teams problems. And they put an upset on Duke earlier, who beat Temple. And they're starting to play a little better. So I got North Carolina State taking this one.
Yeah, I'm going with NC State as well. They wasn't looking so good in the beginning of the year. They was a real high favorite to win the ACC, but they've been going on a hot streak, being able to win, like you said, against Duke. So I'm pretty sure they'll be able to get on the road and win themselves another game going into the tournament.
I agree as well. They're very streaky, but they've been doing really hot so far lately, and they're also a primary jump shooting team. I just have them definitely beating Temple.
Unanimously, NC State. I have to agree, Jimmy Valvano will be proud of this team this year. Now in the 5-12, UNLV will probably clean house there, Donna, and Syracuse move them on to. That team does not lose in the first round. They know how to take care of business. And just because of Butler being Butler, move them and Illinois on as well here. Now we'll clean up the first round there, but now you look at the second round matchups between some of these teams. Guys, Indiana, North Carolina State there. I mean, I'm going to say Indiana is going to win it because they have done so well this year. But you have to give NC State credit. They know how to take down a #1 team. What do you guys think on this one?
Well, I have to agree with you, Chris. I mean, even though Indiana struggled against teams that have been a little more athletic than them, Indiana just has too much skill with Yogi Ferrell and Cody Zeller. So I don't think they can be stopped. And as they've brought up earlier, NC State has been inconsistent, so I got the Hoosiers moving on.
Yeah, I got to go with Indiana as well. You know, Victor Oladipo has been playing really good these past couple of games going into the tournament. And so I'm pretty sure he'll keep it up going into it, being able to average around 15, 20 points a game. So I'm pretty sure he'll be able to contribute to getting himself another win.
I have to say Indiana as well. I have them going to the Elite Eight for sure.
All right, guys, there you have it. Indiana, #1 for most of the year. You guys got moving on there. But now we're going to look at UNLV, Syracuse. That'll be a big match there. 4-5. Who's going to win it? Syracuse, a very perennial big team, but UNLV, they've been pretty hot this year.
Well, I got the Running Rebels winning this game, pulling the upset because they have a freshman named Anthony Bennett who's going to be a top 5 pick. And he's the most physical player in the country. In Syracuse, what have they struggled at? Physical teams because they have no one inside that won't get in foul trouble. And their guard play has been so inconsistent. Michael Carter-Williams, turnover machine. And UNLV doesn't turn the ball over much. Good defensive team. I got them pulling the upset.
I don't know about that, Kyle. I got to go with Syracuse. You see them playing very well. You got the head coach, definitely Hall of Famer Jim Bowen, and definitely with that 2-3 zone they play all the time. And I see a lot of good things going on. So you gotta say number 43 for Syracuse has been able to hit outstanding games for the past couple of games in the Big East tournament. So I got to go with Syracuse right there.
I have Syracuse as well. They're doing really well right now, and they're really strong as a team, and I just see them going a little bit farther.
Feeling the love for the orange over there with Syracuse. Now you have everybody's favorite upset team in Butler and Marquette from the Big East. I want to say Butler just because this can be their year, finally, to get it done. What do you guys have to say over there?
I don't see Butler getting this far, but I have them going down to Marquette because Marquette's such a balanced team offensively and defensively. They're able to distribute the wealth. They have players like Vanderblue, Junior Cadogan, who are just mismatches at the point, who will be able to get shut down Butler. So I got Marquette moving on.
I got to go with Butler here. They've been able to get down to the Final Four for the past couple of years. And with a great coach, Brad Stevens, being able to lead this team, being able to give them great wisdom going into this tournament, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to find a way to get Marquette down.
I have Butler as well. Right now they're really strong defensively, and they were 3rd in their conference. They're a really strong team, and I feel like they could definitely beat Marquette for sure.
We got Butler moving on. Now we have Miami moving on as well. Indiana, they're going to take care of business there against Syracuse. You can just scratch that one in. And since this is the Pioneer sideline, we like upsets here. Put Butler in the final as well there. Now, guys, it's going to be Indiana and Butler there in the Elite Eight. Who do you have moving on? Real quick here. Who's your choice? Just writing down the line.
I got Indiana winning this game.
I'm going with Indiana as well.
Indiana.
Indiana it is there, Dawn. And we're going to take a short commercial break here on the Pioneer sideline. Be right back with all the NCAA Tournament. You're watching the Pioneer sideline here on UView.